All right, everybody. It is Thursday, the second to last day of the summer Free Speech TV pledge drive. Okay. We are trying to get to $250,000. That is our goal. If we do that, then, we'll unlock another 10 grand as, a contribution for making that challenge amount. So you could see last time we checked in, it was $131,000. So now it's $133,679, which means in the last couple of minutes, we raised $2,000. That is not enough. Okay. We need to do better. Now, I will admit that all that you're seeing on the TV are the texted in pledge amounts, right? So if you text to 44321, the letter is FSTV, Free Speech TV, perhaps we'll see your donation up there on the screen. That would be good for you, right? That would be good for me. But if you don't want to text it in, it will not show up on this particular pledge drive tracker, but it will count toward the $250,000 goal that we set for ourselves that we need to meet tomorrow. So if you want to call it in, you can, 877-378-8669. And if you want to do it online real quick, then just visit us at freespeech.org. But if you're interested in seeing, the ticker here go up, then text your pledge to 44321. Just put in the letters FSTV and we will send you a secure link and you can do it that way. All right. So we left off asking you what happens to Clarence. Okay, now we know Rudy Giuliani is probably going to lose his law license. It's already been, suspended in New York. Probably, Eastman will have to forfeit his law license. We just told you that Justice, a former Supreme Court Justice in Wisconsin, Gableman, is going to lose his law license. I mean, the entry level for his career was a law license. He went all the way, and now he's about to, just self-emulate his entire career, his legacy, just up in smoke for a dictator. For a wannabe dictator, Donald J. Trump. Okay, so what happens to Clarence? We know that Ginny was John Eastman's little Supreme Court spy, okay? And she was telling Eastman that there was a big, here, I'll read you the exact words he wrote. He said there was a heated fight among the Supreme Court justices over whether or not to hear arguments about the president's efforts to overturn his defeat. Okay, he wrote, quote, "So the odds are not based on the legal merits, but an assessment of the justices' spines, and I understand there's a heated fight underway." Well, how could he know? He knew because Ginny was telling him. She was his spy. Now, people are going to argue, well, she's entitled to her First Amendment rights just because she's married to Clarence. That's like saying Bonnie and Clyde never spoke to each other about their lives of crime. You understand how stupid that is? It's like if Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were roommates, but they never, ever, neither one of them had any idea about the other one having a life of crime. It's impossible to believe. It's impossible to believe, because to believe that, you would have to believe that Ginny and Clarence have the most dysfunctional relationship in the history of relationships, and that's including Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. That's including OJ and Nicole for the people who are older in the audience and don't know what Amber Heard and Johnny Depp was about. You would have to believe that Ginny Thomas and Clarence Thomas never speak to each other, ever. And that is, I'm sorry, unbelievable. There was so much back and forth between Ginny Thomas and John Eastman that if there was any more back and forth between those two, they would have had to have used birth control. You understand what I'm saying? So the revelations about Ginny Thomas communicating all of this to state legislators and especially to John Eastman, who knew what he was doing under current constitutional law and the law of the United States, was lawless. And yet he kept on going. and that the president of the United States then knew also that it was lawless. And he kept on asserting that Mike Pence could do this thing that Mike Pence could not do, knowing that Mike Pence could not do it, and then said violence would be okay because maybe the supporters were right about Mike Pence, right after a phone call that day where the president then said to Mike Pence, "You're a wimp and you're a P word," and called him that in front of a whole room full of people in the Oval Office that morning, and then unleashed the whirlwind on Mike Pence. Let the violence begin. And that Ginny was clued in so much so that she knew to leave early because violence was about to ensue. What does that mean needs to happen to Clarence? Now, all the punditry is asserting at this point is that Clarence should have recused himself from the 2 election cases that they did have come before them, the Texas case, as I told you, and the Pennsylvania case. Now, they refused to weigh in on those 2 cases, but Clarence, if you'll remember, dissented. He didn't agree that they should not hear these cases. See? And so people are saying, well, now that we know that Ginny was, talking to Eastman and there was so much back and forth going on between those 2, knowing that what they were proposing was lawless. And remember, Ginny Thomas is a lawyer. She's married to a Supreme Court justice, true, but she's also got a degree in the law. She knew what she was saying was illegal. She knew it. And so they're saying, well, Clarence should have recused himself and blah, 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 right?
Let's remember who John Eastman is. He is the person that Eric Hirschman, as we just heard, said really needs a criminal defense lawyer, which he got, and he's now taking the 5th. He's also someone who the judge in the subpoena case said there was illegal activity going on. The fact that Ginny Thomas was emailing with him doesn't mean at all that she was involved potentially in criminal activity, but it is yet another sign that she was intimately involved in the whole effort to overturn the election, which is her right under the First Amendment. The issue is, why was Clarence Thomas, her husband, sitting on cases that were relevant to January 6th and has continued to sit in these cases? That's what's really outrageous to me about
you
the
think
whole
he should
Ginny
recuse
Thomas
himself?
situation. Of course he should have recused himself. I mean, his wife is intimately involved in this issue.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's unlawful what she did, but it is a clear conflict of interest.
I think we're at the point where we have a good enough case to require Clarence Thomas be impeached. Now, whether or not that can happen depends on how you vote in 2022. You understand that? And whether or not we see the end of this effort matters when you vote in 2022. Because what Justice Luttig was testifying to today was that this only set the stage for 2024. And that if we don't hold all these traitors accountable for their traitors, for being traitors, they will do it again. They will do it again. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.